E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna and producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Ginwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Today is Friday, and we are talking about women in leadership.
So we need some. Yeah.
Go ahead.
We're both excited.
Oh, goodness. But we do.
I'm just going to say we definitely need some good women leadership.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we have some amazing women who honestly were the forefront for us today as entrepreneurs.
Yes. Women in leadership. My goodness gracious. It's just amazing. Some of the ladies are going to be sharing with you. And also every Friday, we're going to be covering women and leadership. This is the first week of our new fall schedule that we have just completed, because every Monday, Donna, we're going to be covering making a difference in business.
Yes.
As for the solopreneur, the entrepreneur, and we're going to be covering a broad variety of topics there that's applicable and of interest to people who are wanting to online businesses, things of that nature, people working from home. Then on Tuesdays,
we're talking about finding your health naturally. So there are so many things out there, folks, that we can do, and not saying in any way, shape, or form that, our current medical system isn't good. We're just saying that, there are some avenues out there and some things that we can do to improve our health in a natural way.
Be proactive rather than reactive, because
absolutely.
I can honestly say, thank God that we had the hospitals, the doctors, and things like that when I had a heart attack and needed open heart surgery for bypasses. And that's definitely inspiration for me to clean up my life of what I eat, because what I've been eating is eating me. Right. And so be proactive rather than having to be reactive again. Been there and done that, got the stripe down the middle of my chest here. So I've earned that stripe. Then on Wednesdays, this is a two-sided type of program. We got youth making a difference. This is about the young kids. We're talking, the other day we talked about a 9-year-old kid, a 12-year-old kid, my goodness gracious, that's making a difference, saw a need. And this is also on the other side of the coin for mentors. So if you're a mentor, if you know someone's a mentor, you may want to get in touch with us. And we'll put our email address up there, inspiration@e360tv.com, on any of our topics that we cover. If you got an interest, or if you got a video or something, we'll be glad to take a look at it. Just make sure it's short, like 1 minute or less.
And Thursdays, this is exciting. Thursdays is all about pets we love. And so, we're going to be covering not only pets who are heroes. Yesterday, for example, we talked about, since we just got done celebrating, if you will, you can call it celebrating, acknowledging, I think would be a better word, acknowledging 9/11. We talked about the canine 9/11 heroes.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we're going to be talking about, our own personal pets. We're going to be talking about pets who are out there who are heroes to their owners every single day, right?
Oh, yeah. The pets that make you smile and laugh, that lift you up in your doom and gloom of life. And because pets are something that they bless us in so many ways with that unconditional, no strings attached love. We could all take a lesson from that, can't we?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And today we're going to talk about what's popular today. What's the national day of it is.
Yum.
And we're going to take it from the top here. And the very first thing we're going to talk about, I'm going to let Donna take the first one because I'm going to take
Ooh.
the second one because it's Barber Day. But the first one, which one would you like to start with?
Oh, National Guacamole
Mm,
Day.
mm, mm,
And
mm,
I have to
mm.
say, I make a mean guacamole.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
after the show, we're all invited over to Donna's house for some guacamole chips and maybe your favorite beverage. How about that?
Yeah, that is just as yummy can be. And of course, you
Mhm.
know, avocados are really good for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
they are really, really good for you. And
Yeah.
this of course didn't start here. It started, in Mexico and Central
Mm.
America,
Oh, yeah.
but it has just taken over, I think, the world because you know most everybody loves avocados.
Yeah. And they avocados love you too.
Yes.
They love your body. Today is also National Barber Day, and I have to salute the men and women who are barbers and hairstylists because you know what? They stand on their feet all day long.
Hmm.
And everybody wants them to do a perfect job. And I remember back when I was younger, Donna, I'd go in there and I'd tell them, okay, this way I want my hair cut. Just trim it around the ears like I wear it now. You have to wear it. I've worn it like this since the 70s. And, I mean, ever since I got out of the Army in 1971, I want it blocked in the back. I don't want it to be zipped up on the sides. I don't want to look like I just hatched out of a chicken egg. This is my ego talking. And I don't want to run to the nearest store to buy a ball cap. And they'd get the snipping and talking about their tomatoes and all that. I'm going, I don't care about your tomatoes. Focus on what you're doing here, guy. That since I'm the one paying the bill here, but really to you men and women who are barbers and hairstylists, we salute you because I really appreciate what you do each and every day, standing on your feet all day long. My goodness
Hmm.
gracious.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
got to salute them.
Yep.
You
And
really
this
do.
this next one's going to be kind of yummy. Is National Choose Your Chocolate Day.
Mercy. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yeah.
Chocolate's good for you. And I got to be honest, my favorite chocolate is dark chocolate.
Yes, dark chocolate is very good for you. It really
Yes.
is.
In
It has a lot.
moderation, of course.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you can't eat a pound a
Has a
day.
lot of
Just
antioxidants in it.
yes, it does. Yes,
Hmm.
it does. And it's a proven fact that dark chocolate in moderation, as she says, don't eat it like I would. If I'm like a pig at slop time when it comes to chocolate. I'm a chocoholic.
Yeah. Around here, we're a little bit that way too.
I hear you. That shows them a level of intelligence if you're a chocoholic. And today, of course, is National Cinnamon Raisin Bread Day. Oh, I love the
Yum.
smell of that when it comes out of the oven. Gets me drooling
Mhm.
like a hound dog at a picnic.
Absolutely. And this last one is really kind of
Oh, yeah.
sweet. I love this one. This one's for all the children out there and all the grown-ups who are still children at heart.
Mm.
It's National Play-Doh Day.
Mm.
And I don't think that's ever going to go out of style, Jim.
No, it sure won't because it allows kids to use their imagination and their hands. That's the key
Yep.
to developing natural talent. It really is. And
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
that.
And you can make your own. How much fun is
Yeah,
that? You can
I
make
didn't
your
know
own.
that.
Yeah, you can make your own Play-Doh. You can look it up on Google. The recipes are out there, and you can make it with your children. And so you
Mm.
can have a double impact, right?
Mm.
How much fun is that?
Yeah, I imagine you could add a little food coloring. I don't know. I haven't looked at any of the recipes, but make it
Yeah, you
different
do.
colors. Oh,
Yeah,
is that
you
right?
do. Hmm.
Yeah,
Add
that'd
different
be
food color.
that'd be very very interesting for the kids because uh, kids, they really like being a part of creating something. They really truly do, especially when it's something that they're going to use and have fun with. That's a
Yes.
win-win situation. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to share with you some true life stories of women who have been first class leaders. My goodness. And Donna, you want to kick it off or you want me to kick it off?
Go ahead and kick it off, and then I'll take the next one.
Okay. One lady I would like to bring to mind is a lady that was beloved by the people of Argentina. She grew up as a peasant, and she was the second wife of President Juan Perón and the first lady of Argentina. But before she entered politics, she had worked her way up where she was a successful model and radio actress in Argentina. And during the 1946 presidential election, she campaigned heavily for her husband, Juan Perón. And during her visit to Spain as part of the Rainbow Tour, the Spanish government awarded her the Order of Isabella the Catholic. As a South American First Lady, she was the first who was featured in a cover story of Time magazine. She founded the Eva Perón Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, Eva Perón was a lady who really gave back to her country. And she really was there. She was known and beloved by the everyday person. And, growing up like she did and becoming the first lady, it shows how much character she had deep down inside, because she did not let fame, fortune, and titles and recognition and all the glit and glamour that comes with being the first lady, she never let it go to her head. And bless her heart, she was, we lost her back in 1952. She was 33 years of age. We lost her to cancer. And my goodness gracious, according to biographers, two gentlemen by the name of Fraser and Navarro, she played an important role in getting Argentina women the right to vote. And as founder of the Female Peronist Party, she is credited with inspiring a large number of women to take a part of politics. And her nomination as a candidate for the election of vice president angered many military leaders. Here's these old guys again, us old boys, and we can't have a woman doing that, But she was the recipient of the official title of, listen to this, spiritual leader of the nation. Donna, that is huge, isn't it?
That is beyond huge.
Yes. And
she was not only a born leader, but she paved the way for so many of us around the world.
Yes, because she was really a true trailblazer, cutting a new path into an old world thinking, male established society, especially in South America. Really hard to say how many young girls that she made an impression on. She became a mentor to. It has to be in the thousands, maybe even in the millions. We don't know. But they looked up to her because she was a very attractive young lady. But she didn't let her beauty or her fame, her fortune that she acquired, she never let that go to her head. And this is something very, very important for all of us to remember. And our good friend, Marty Haggard, is a living example of this, because Donna and I, we know Marty very well. We know him very personally. We've done several things with Marty. We've had him on radio shows, my radio show, Donna's radio show, our TV show. We've been to his event as his guest. And, never forget where you came from, because Marty was actually born in a boxcar of a train. He was a poor boy. He said remember when he said on the TV show, he said on the radio show too, he says, I thought all milk was powdered when I was growing up.
Right. I remember that. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness gracious. And go ahead.
I want to talk about Tammy Duckworth. She is a United States Senator from Illinois. She was born in 1968 in Bangkok, Thailand. She is a war veteran who lost both her legs during the Iraq War. She is a symbol of courage and resilience. Her never say die spirit enabled her to become the first woman with a disability and the first Thai American woman to earn a seat in Congress. She is the first member of the Senate to give birth while in office.
Wow. That's really very, very, very impressive because she brings the type of experience that we need in Washington.
Right,
Because most of them, let's be honest, in the United States, most of them in political office, they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and their family name or the people who were associated with their family had connections. I mean, it's just, and her coming from Thailand and serving in the military, losing both of her legs. We got to salute her, number
yep,
one. Number two, she earned it the hard
absolutely,
way. When you
absolutely.
sacrifice your body like that and you
And
still
you keep going.
believe,
Hmm.
yes,
And
that's
you keep
she's going to
going.
be, yeah, she's a tremendous leader for young girls. She really
Absolutely.
is. And former First Lady Betty Ford, I always had a great admiration for her. She was born in 1918, and she was the wife of the 38th President of the United States, Gerald Ford, and thus being the First Lady of the United States from 1974 to 1977. She demonstrated class. Donna, if there's one thing I remember about Betty Ford, she was a class act from the Alpha to the Omega.
Right,
And also served as Second Lady of the United States from 1973 to 1974 when her husband, Gerald Ford, was the Vice President of Richard Nixon. But she was quite active and candid in her support of the different social causes during her tenure as the First Lady.
right.
Although such endeavors at times met with opposition with some of the other few conservative Republicans, this did not deter Elizabeth at all. She's known as Betty Ford. Her first name's Elizabeth. But she
Absolutely.
emerged and she kept on believing in what she believed in because she knew deep down inside what I'm doing is right. It's a blessing to others. That is our everyday calling in life. For you folks out there in TV land, for Donna, for me, the reason why we're here on planet Earth is to be a blessing to others. And how do we do that? You know, if someone would say, "How do you do that, Donna?" What would you say to them?
Whew. How to be a blessing to others?
Hmm.
Just
Yeah,
give.
you
Just
just
give.
use your God-given talents, your
Or
abilities.
wherever the need is. I mean, it doesn't
Hmm.
even have to be that you can do something big for somebody. It can be as simple as taking your neighbor's trash out or taking
Hmm.
the garbage can back in or helping clean up their alley without them knowing. It could be anything.
It seemed like you did that one time, didn't you?
I've
Didn't you
done that
clean
several times.
up? She's an old alley cat from way back.
Well, I may as well be. I live with a bunch of them.
Yeah, I mean to tell you, she literally lives in a cat house with four cats. I mean to tell you.
Oh
And
my goodness.
Betty Ford, she suffered from breast cancer. She underwent a mastectomy, and she also battled alcoholism.
Yes, she did.
And she never hid this.
No, that was what
She
I found so
Yeah,
amazing about her because
yeah.
most people, especially in the spotlight, um, most people will hide what's going on. And she
Mhm.
was just like, here it is, folks,
Yeah.
right
And
out
it
in this, right out on Main Street for everybody to know.
and by her being so honest and candid and saying, I battled alcoholism, I battled substance abuse, but she did something about it. She didn't look for people to feel sorry for her. She says, "Hey, I fell into a trap. Other people can fall in that trap." And she co founded the Betty Ford Center, which is a residential treatment center to help people deal with and overcome substance dependence, alcohol, and drugs. And she also served as first chair of the board of directors. And later in her life, she received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. She's also received the Congressional Gold Medal, and which is quite an honor for her because she was also a leader in the women's movement. She's considered to be one of the most outspoken first ladies in history because she spoke up and she backed equal rights amendment and abortion rights movement. And so she was not afraid to speak out about something that she believed in. And that Betty Ford Center has helped a multitude of people. And
Yes,
because of her being a former first lady, former second lady, and all that, I mean, she attracted a lot of high profile people
Mhm.
to her organization because uh, they knew that she could relate to them. And I've heard of many stars over the years say they checked into Betty Ford Center for treatment. And that's a classic example of someone saying, okay, I'm human and I stumbled and I fell,
Right.
but I got back up. And what I went through, what I learned from this experience, I'm going to help others get out of that same ditch I was in. That is a tremendous, you talk about leaving a legacy. Holy smokes. I can't
Right.
think of callings like that are just above and beyond the normal call of duty. They really are.
Absolutely.
And you just got to salute someone like that. You really do.
Well, this one is kind of interesting. So this takes us back to France.
Okay.
So she was born in 1897.
Mm-hmm.
She died in 1956. Her name is Irene Jolie Curie. And she was a brilliant scientist. In 1935, Jim, she won the Nobel Prize in chemistry, along with her husband, for discovering artificial radioactivity.
Wow.
She was also one of the first 3 female French government members. She tragically died of leukemia caused, are you ready for this? By exposure to radiation. But she was brilliant and she forged the way for women in science.
That's really amazing. It's so impressive. And so we're so honored, Donna and I are, to be able to, share some of these stories of some of these wonderful women who were trailblazers, who were willing to stand up in a male-dominated society many times, and
Right.
as far as the period and the location, and it just amazes me. And Donna, when I mention the name Mary Kay, what comes to your mind? Mary Kay Ash.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
She's brilliant. Mary Kay Ash, she founded, along with her husband, Mary Kay Cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she founded it because when she quit her job, she couldn't get any more promotion. She couldn't get any more money, even though she was highest in sales, etc. They wouldn't give her anything because at the time, it was still very much a male-dominated world. So, along with her husband, they founded Mary Kay Cosmetics. And her husband died of a heart attack, and she forged on. At the time of her death, she had over 800 people who were in Mary Kay, and her net worth was $98 million.
Yeah. What's really amazing about that story, when her and her husband started out on this venture to launch Mary Kay Cosmetics, he died of a heart attack about 1 month prior to the launch of this new company.
Right.
And eventually she built a worldwide company with over 800,000 agents. And it says back then it was $1.2 billion in sales. And she built a fortune, as Donna said, of $98 million. And the thing that when I mention Mary Kay or Mary Kay Cosmetics, the one thing that just pops in my mind.
The pink Cadillac.
Yes. She loved pink. And I don't know what the prerequisites were for her
pretty high
distributors. Yeah. But they would get a pink Cadillac. Oh, my goodness gracious. And
Absolutely.
wonder how many husbands says, "Hey, honey, can I borrow your pink Cadillac and ride downtown?" It takes a real man to drive a pink Cadillac, right? Got to have a little fun there.
Well, this one's kind
But
of interesting, Jim.
mhm.
And we've talked about her brothers before on our show. How
Okay.
about this one? Catherine Wright Haskell,
Mm.
1874 to 1929. Catherine Wright Haskell was the younger sister of the famous Wright brothers, Wilbur and Orville Wright.
Wonderful.
Although her brothers, of course, are the stuff of aviation legends, Catherine is much less well known. She was pivotal to the success of the Wright brothers, and her
Mm.
brothers acknowledged that fact. She graduated from Ohio's Oberlin College, go Bucks. She was a high school teacher and became an international celebrity when she accompanied her brothers to Europe. She was
Mm.
known for her charming personality, while her brothers were reportedly shy, making
Mhm.
her a great asset for meetings and making the deals.
Mm.
Catherine played a massive role in keeping the Wright brothers solvent. She managed their bicycle shop and negotiated contract extensions on their behalf. She maintained their finances and their household and was awarded the Legion d'Honneur along with her brothers.
That is really amazing. It really truly is because here she's got two brothers. All they want to do is pedal bicycles, work on bicycles, and fly airplanes. But as
Right.
far as anything else, they were not business people. She had the business savvy.
Hmm.
And that's what we've said before about ladies. One thing I've always admired about ladies is that they got the common business sense. They got their feet on the ground. And because a lot of times us guys, we're up there in the clouds, you know, and women are the ones that have their feet on the ground on the world of reality. As one saying that I never have forgotten about men is that, with all the gold mines and that's been dug and gold that's been retrieved, there's been more gold. Listen to this now. There's been more gold mined inside the minds of men than ever came out of a hole in the ground.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I was telling, I think it was the other day, Don, I was mentioning or I said something to you about in business meetings I've been in throughout my life. And, people are, guys are sitting around there and they're talking about, we can do this, we can do that, and all that. And,
Right.
a couple of the ladies we've had in this one particular meeting I'm thinking about, they're sitting there and they're listening, they're evaluating, and they got that intuition that we just don't have.
Right.
And they asked point blank, grassroots, down to earth, honest questions like, okay, how is this actually going to convert money? How
Right.
this one lady made the comment, how does this make the cash register ring?
Right.
That's when all the dust settles. Now we got to talk about, okay, we got a good idea here.
Now we have to implement it and make it work
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Let's
and
get
and
the
dissect
mhm.
it to make it profitable.
Yeah. I mean, you take a car, it goes 100 miles an hour down the road. I mean, I know we don't drive that fast, maybe present company excluded there. Little Miss Leadfoot Jones over there. but, but, every car, no matter how fast it goes, if you're going down the freeway at 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, whatever you drive or whatever on the open highways, remember one thing, every single time that car starts out in first gear.
Hmm.
And that's what ladies are looking at in business when they say, hey, how can we get this going? How can we generate the first sale? How can we
Right.
get the cash register to ring? And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about a little bit on various shows there on Mondays with the uh, making a difference in business,
Yes.
because that's very important because it's very easy to get caught up in all the hype.
Right.
But ladies have that down to earth grassroots grip
Right.
with their toes in the grass and say, okay, we're still on planet Earth. We're not orbiting around Jupiter. Let's see how we can get this thing airborne,
Well,
It, it's
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say is that's why ladies in our life are very, very important. They really are. They really contribute to life. And it just amazes me, all of the successful ladies and the ones that's really achieved success, a lot of them, they never forgot where they came from. They're down to earth and they're willing to help somebody else
Right.
get it in first gear and get the machine rolling, you might
Mhm.
say.
So this next lady I'd like to talk about
Okay.
from 1883 to 1971.
Okay.
She was a fashion designer and a businesswoman from
Mhm.
France. Does the name Coco Chanel mean anything to you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
She was the founder of the most famous clothing brand in the world
Mm,
today.
mm,
In the post World War I era, she popularized a sporty casual chic,
mm.
replacing the corseted silhouette of the time.
Wow.
Chanel was, and I thank her for that because I couldn't imagine wearing a corset.
Hmm.
But Chanel was a prolific creator and designer, and extending her design to handbags, jewelry, and fragrances. She
Mm,
is celebrated as the only fashion designer in Time magazine's list of 100 most influential people of the 20th century.
mm,
And her brand continues to delight and amaze audiences the world over to this day. And
mm,
I saw a bit of a show on the TV about her, Jim,
hmm.
and um, she had a little bit of a rough go getting it started.
Oh yeah.
She did not have the easiest life, and
Mm-mm.
she was also known to be very straightforward,
Hmm.
and she could be a little bit,
Blunt.
yeah, let's just say blunt. Blunt in is a is a polite way to put it. But she knew what she wanted. She knew her worth, and
Hmm.
that is huge. We have to know our worth
Mm,
because if somebody comes to you, and Jim, we know this, it's happened to you and I, it's
hmm.
happened to countless other people. You have a business, and
Hmm.
all of a sudden your friend needs help, and they're like, "Hey, dude, I'm your friend. Can you give me a
Hmm.
little discount?"
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So if I go into your place of work, can you give me a discount?
Yeah.
Your worth is or free. That's the
Hmm.
next one. I love
Yeah.
that one. Can
Yeah.
we have, hey, I'll do you
Yeah.
a favor.
Yeah. And one of the worst things that we can do for someone, especially someone that's in a financial bind, now in their world, their mind is, hey, help me out of this financial bind. Phew, thank you so much. And that sounds very appealing to the person that's in a bind because they got blinders in front of them. They cannot see the forest for the trees.
Right.
But the worst thing you can do is give them money to get them out of the bind because you have deprived them of the pride and dignity to work out of that. And we've mentioned that a couple of times on previous shows, but it's so true because when I think about Coco Chanel, what she was really known for, she changed the way women saw themselves forever.
Right.
And she released women from the constraints of the courses to set them free. And that's just one thing. But she also was known for saying using your charm and grace is not abusing the female traits. Instead, it
Right.
allows others to shine. And she gave 10 tips. I'd like to cover these if I may, Donna.
Absolutely.
She covered her top 10 tips for using your feminine power to deal with life's changes. And I'm just going to share this with you, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't want to add to her words. Number one, who are you? That's a good question for all of us to ask ourselves. Who
Right.
are you? Well, I do this, that, and the other. No, who are you?
Right.
And her answer, her description of that was to ensure you are really clear about your skills and your talents. People can only respond to us dependent on the messages that we give them.
Right.
If you're not clear on what you are brilliant at,
No one else will be either.
yeah, how can you communicate to other people? And
Mhm.
she says, people want to have confidence and trust in our abilities. First, that's confidence and trust has to come from inside of us. We have to have it in store. That is huge, isn't it, Donna?
It is absolutely huge.
And this number two that she listed, we can all take a big time lesson from this. She is simply, and I love the way she talked. She just talks straightforward in uncomplicated language. Her message was be aware of your head tapes. Everybody knows what that means as soon as I said it, you know.
Right?
But her description, and I'm going to share this with you if I may, ladies and gentlemen, learn how to delete and neutralize any negative messages you give to yourself. I remember one time before we went live on TV, I was doing something and I couldn't get something to work, or I forgot to do something, and I says, Grant, you moron, and Donna corrected me. You remember that?
Oh, I certainly do.
Yeah. And she's still giggling about it too. But I just said it subconsciously. So
Right.
I really need to take a lesson from what CoCo is saying here about be aware of your head tapes, because many times we're our own worst enemy.
Well,
And-
that's what we hear the most.
Oh, yeah.
On an energetic level, folks, that is what we hear the most. What we say to ourselves resonates the deepest and has the biggest impact.
Mhm.
And that determines your attitude and it determines your energy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the other day, I was sent a message, and I don't want to repeat what the message was because it's very negative. And immediately I got upset. And I'm saying, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Why don't we do the other? And then the person who sent the message sent it back, sent me a reply and says, I just found out that this was a fake call that got called in. Just somebody just wanting to say something nutsy.
Wow.
And I'm going like, man, and here, now listen, I let all this negative energy get fired up in me. And I'm going off to myself about how we could stop all that nonsense.
Right.
But notice how quickly that I admitted that I just mentally flew off the handle, kind of speak.
And how quick did you change gears?
Oh, yes. And when you turn on that negative energy, your light in your life, your creative energy,
It's gone.
it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because the positive and the negative cannot coexist. Love and fear cannot coexist. We've covered that a lot. And so in going on here, when CoCo talks about how to delete and neutralize any negative messages you give to yourself, write them down, get them out of your head, and really question yourself. And let's stop right there because Donna, we've had other Emerson's talked about it. We've talked about it on another show. How important is it for us to write things down?
It's really important. One of the things I recommend when I'm doing coaching is when people are in that negative vortex, talking down to themselves.
Yeah.
I tell them to write it all down.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they talk to themselves for the first 2 weeks that they're in coaching with me. Here's a little tip, folks. Then I want you to take it somewhere safe, fire pit or something, and I want you to burn it.
Yeah.
Burn it. Get rid of it.
Then here's another question she asked. This is very good. Examine where these messages and beliefs are coming from.
Right.
Bill Heinrich in his books talks about how we defend our beliefs.
Oh, don't we though?
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's kind of like the guy was watching his wife one time and she was cutting off the ends of the ham before she put it in a pot. He looked and he says, well, why did you do that? She says, I don't know. My mother always did that. So time went on and he saw his mother-in-law and she was preparing a ham and of course cut off the ends of the ham, put it in a pot. And he says, I'm kind of curious. Why do you do that? And her mother says, well, I don't know. I always watched my mother and she always did it. So I do it too, you know? And he kept thinking about that, and he's wondering, okay, why did they do that? So he was over at Grandma's house, and he says, Grandma, I got to ask you a question. He says, my wife does it. I asked her, and she says, cuts the ends off the ham. And he says, I asked her, and she does it because her mother did it. And I asked my mother-in-law, and she says, because you did it. So I got to ask you, why did you cut the ends off the ham? And she said, well, Sonny, so it would fit in a pot.
Right.
But look how something that simple can become the reason why you do something.
Right.
And she goes on to say, remember, you were not born with these beliefs about yourself. That's huge, isn't it?
It is. We let the world and ourselves and others taint us to what, not who we are on the inside, but what they believe we should be.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's horrible, isn't it?
That is absolutely horrible. You know what? You are beautiful and unique, and you are brilliant in where you're at.
Yes, you're
And
special.
so right, and you need to celebrate that. And that is your God-given talent right there.
Yeah.
And don't let anybody else tell you different.
Yeah. And, she goes on to say, when she said, you were not born with these beliefs about yourself. So any thoughts that you have, you've acquired those during your life. They can be positive or they can be negative, but you acquired them.
Right.
And she says, if you possess any beliefs that are not supportive of you and your future, delete them and re-record positive replacements. That is tremendously huge because Bill Heinrich, in his book, The 7 Levels of Truth, he's a great friend of Donna and ours. In fact, he helps support our show. My goodness gracious. Bill talks about getting rid of everything that doesn't serve you. And he's not talking about being selfish, like what, if you can serve me. No, he's talking about things that serve you to be able to serve others. Right. And if it derails that, you need to get rid of those things.
Right.
And this feminine power that she's known for, CoCo Channel, number 3, recognize there are no such things as weakness. Wow. That really, when I read that, it just really kind of like shakes you and wakes you up. Go ahead.
Well, as women, we're far more emotional than men. And one of the things that has always just made me madder than hell is when I'm really touched by something, or if I'm really, really, really angry, I'll cry. Either way. And people take that as a weakness, and neither one is a weakness. Think about that.
Yeah.
Being emotional and feeling something, so many people in the world say, oh, God, you're just being a pansy. No, having that emotion and feeling is not a weakness. It is a power. It is a power. So own that power.
Yeah.
I make no apologies. I've teared up more times than I can think about on this show, talking about something. In fact, I did yesterday talking about one of the dogs in 9/11, who I think she died in, I want to say
2016.
16, yes.
Yeah.
And it tears me up because it's such an emotional space for me with the whole 9/11, let alone all the animals that help. So, I just wanted to touch in and add that, Jim.
Yeah. And that kind of touches on a male myth. Real men don't cry.
Right.
Well, I cried when I lost my dad. I cried when I lost my mother. I cried when I lost my daughter. I cried when I lose my dogs, my pets. And if you don't, I truly feel sorry for you.
Absolutely. Well said.
Because, it's you're losing something that's part of your life, and we're running
someone that you love
and loved you. Amen. And I don't know how far we're going to be able to go here because CoCo's got a bunch of them. We'll cover some more of these next Friday. But like she says, it's very easy for most people to instantly tell everyone what they're not good at. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I wish I had $1 for every time someone told me that. I'd probably be fishing right now or something. But I'm going to go on with these three comments here, Donna, and I want you to comment on them, your thoughts on it. She says, how about being able to communicate with authority and absolutely no guilt? What you are very good at. How
Yeah,
would that feel? She asked. And that's extremely important.
it
And she's,
is.
go ahead.
Well, it is because we often find talking about ourselves, Jim, can be a difficult thing for a lot of people.
Hmm.
Because when we talk about ourselves, oftentimes we feel like we're being prideful or
Braggart.
braggadocious or
Hmm.
something along that, but you're not. You have to separate
Yeah.
that yourself
Hmm.
from your feelings, right? Because
Yeah.
this is who you are. This is your livelihood, and
Yeah.
trust me, if you can't separate that and speak up for who you are, you're not going to go forward very quickly in
Hmm.
business.
You're exactly right. And I suffer from that, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to be on Angel Marie Monticelli's show next Thursday, the 22nd of September. And she sent me a thing, you know, tell me who you are. I'm going like, oh, okay. Well, because I have a problem saying I'm a radio host, a TV host, I'm this, I'm that, and the other, because I don't want people to think that I'm up here and everyone else is down here. And for example, when I get up to speak, I'm going to give that summit as an example because it's a good example. Donna and I were on the summit over in India. The guest of honor was um, the uh, the
King of
guy from
all.
King of Almond. Thank you. And he's sitting there, and everybody else that came on, they thanked her for being on the summit. It was a virtual summit thanks to COVID, but they said, "Well, I'm a speaker, I'm a
Wow.
coach, I'm a trainer, I'm a best-selling author," and you go like, "Well, so what?
There was
What
only
value?"
two people on that entire summit, Jim. Two
Mhm.
people who did not do that. You
And
and
I'm
me.
pointing to, yeah, you're right.
Yep. You and
And
me.
when I use the 6 minute webinar that we have, and if you'd like to know more about the
Yep.
6 minute webinar, just email us here at the station, inspiration at E360 TV. In fact, email us for any thoughts or ideas on any of our programs. We'll be glad to respond and to you and consider your interest in the show, and hopefully we can put it together for you. But I wanted to make an impression. First of all, I did thank the lady for inviting me to the summit. And
Absolutely.
my opening statement was that, ladies and gentlemen, during my presentation today, I'm going to share with you three proven ways that you can get your community involved to make your community a better place to live. Boom, that was it.
Right.
Because right there, people who are interested in what I'm going to say, they'll say, okay, let me listen to this guy. And people who are not interested, they're going to be like the lyrics of Shania Twain's song, I'm out of here. And that's
Right.
fine. That's what you want to do. You want to repel everyone that's not interested in what you're bringing to the table.
Right.
And Donna, your opening statement was
Was a question.
fantastic.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead because you were.
Well, I believe it was a question.
Yes, it was.
I believe it was a question. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even go into anything. I just said, let me ask you all a question.
Mm-hmm.
How would blank, blank, blank make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
when you open that way, you just brought everybody into what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. You're
So it makes
absolutely
a big
correct.
difference in how you present yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
I know who I am, I know who I am,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have to hide it. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same token, I certainly don't flaunt it. And
Oh,
I
yes.
certainly don't need to tell everybody my every credential I have. I
Yeah.
find it ridiculously boring.
Yes, you're exactly right. Because once you go through, so this is part of the
I
6 minute
mean,
webinar. And once you present it like that, and you present, like in my case, the three different ways I went into detail about it,
Right.
Then I could say, I'm Jim Grant, and then I bring in my credentials, because now I will give them a reason to trust me.
Right. But you're not going to bring every credential you've had since the
No,
dawn of time.
no,
You're going to
not at
bring up
all.
a few of them.
Mhm.
Okay. And what is pertinent to that point in time? Because, there's so many people out in business, Jim,
Mhm.
that have credentials that go on a mile long. And that's fine. But you know what? Nobody wants to hear about
Mhm.
your certificate of
Right.
whatever that you
Mhm.
got 20 years ago.
Yes. And besides that, and Donna, you and I have talked about this, if you start out with your name, your credentials, listen to me, la da 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 da, you can
You've lost
actually
them.
build up a barrier between you
You've lost
and
them.
the audience. I mean, they're kind of like, well, I've never been a best-selling author. I've never been a speaker. I've
I
never
got
done
nothing in
this.
common with you, therefore I may as well just go like this now.
Exactly. Exactly. You're exactly right. And we're getting down close on time.
Yes, we are.
And I just want to finish just a couple of quick comments here
Please do.
on the recognized note. There's no such thing as weakness by CoCo Chanel. She says, recognize that we all possess our qualities, but sometimes these qualities can be underdone or overdone. When we take these qualities out of balance, they can be perceived as a weakness. And then finally, she says, look at your perceived weakness and identify the quality that lies underneath. Then see if you underdo or overdo that quality. That makes sure you have the strategies in place to keep your qualities in balance.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious, that lady there with her common, everyday, down to earth, common sense. You can
Right.
easily understood where she attracted over 800,000 people. I don't know how many pink Cadillacs she gave away. She probably.
Oh no, that wrong person. You're talking about Mary Kay.
Oh, I'm
This
talking about
is
Mary
CoCo.
Kay. Yeah, CoCo
CoCo
Chanel.
Chanel.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm really stuck on her too, because both of these ladies have just been fantastic. And my goodness, when you think about the down to earth wisdom that CoCo shared with us, and there is more. We'll be covering more of that next week, because I'm looking at the clock. I'm trying to get everything done and run out of time, getting my tongue wrapped around my eye tooth. And every now and then I goof up and make mistakes. And you know what I say? So what?
So what?
I'm
We
human.
don't care.
Enjoy a good laugh. If not, you're cheating yourself out there in TV land.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Donna, this has been a show that shows like this I love to do.
I do too. And I
They're
love that
electrifying.
they are. And I love the fact that we are highlighting these trailblazers. And
Yes.
not only for women,
Mhm.
but men are learning a lot from the women of yesterday
Mhm.
and
Yes.
today,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So everybody can learn from these trailblazers and what they've given us.
Yeah. And the foundation that they laid of wisdom and the
Absolutely.
need for change, we see echoing down through the passage of time. We really do.
Right. And
And
some things, folks, never change.
I know it. Like hard-headed men. I can say that because I'm teasing you guys out there. You don't take offense to it. My goodness, have a sense of humor, laugh it off.
Right.
But my goodness, our time is gone.
It is, Jim.
And Donna, we're just so grateful that so many people out in TV land watch us on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Android TV. I mean, we could be seen on everything from a cell phone to a big screen TV.
Absolutely.
And we're just honored that we're one of the top shows on E360 TV. And to say thank you just seems so inadequate, but we do like to close our shows with saying, be sure and love yourself first.
Yes.
Because if you don't love yourself, you don't have the capacity, you don't have anything in your tank to love others.
And make sure you give yourself plenty of grace.
Yes,
it's easy for us to give grace to others, but we forget to give grace to ourselves.
We certainly do. We're the hardest on ourselves, aren't we? Just like I said earlier in the show when I call myself a moron. Grant, you a moron? And Donna says, Jim, I got to correct you on that right now. She's got this invisible choke chain. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back Monday. And we're really looking forward to having a show, making a difference in business. And on all of our shows, if you know someone that would be a great asset for our show, or if you got some comments or anything, please get in touch with us at inspiration at E360 TV. Our staff will get it. We'll be glad to respond to you and consider any suggestion that you send our way.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.
Have a beautiful, safe weekend.
You
Bye-bye.
bet. Bye-bye.